Still February 11th. Democrats on their last day of their argument as far as this impeachment trial. And then it's going to the Republicans. Man, get ready for a masterclass on whataboutism, because that's all they got. They don't got no defense for what this fucking piece of shit did. So it's gonna be all dumbass fucking made up shit about what about Black Lives Matter? What about Antifa? That's all it's gonna be. Knowing that there's no real motherfucking like comparison because of what them assholes did. I already been through that probably plenty of times by now. They're dirty motherfuckers. They got no argument, so they just go get racist. Because that's what they do. They racist ass motherfucking people who's gonna be like, they gonna forget listening to what the real argument is. They gonna get distracted by the racist bullshit. And that's gonna be their excuse for letting them off. It don't matter. History gonna fucking have all that motherfucking shit that the Democrats laid out for everybody to motherfucking decide who was fucking telling the truth, who the fucking real patriots was, who was the assholes trying to goddamn raise a king. And that's just what the motherfucking Democrats, I think, need to goddamn really hit home. These motherfuckers. What the fuck are you doing? Yeah. They need to motherfucking. Democrats need to hit home about what the end game was. There was an end game to this shit that ain't nobody been talking about because it was such a colossal flop. These fucking dickheads failed. But nobody thinks about what would have happened if they didn't fail. What if those assholes were successful? What was the end game? What if they could have snuck a bunch of motherfucking guns? And what if them bombs outside the fucking Democrat and Republicans' offices? And maybe they had more bombs. Like, what if that shit was run by some motherfuckers that had actual competence? That's what nobody is like ever fucking talked about. Because it was such a colossal failure. It was such an obvious dog catching the car situation. But what if they had succeeded? What if Trump had succeeded in turning half the fucking military to his side? What if that mob had actually got a hold of all the fucking representatives and all the motherfucking senators? What would the world have thought? Because you know what their fucking end game was? From what I saw, if they would have been successful, King Trump. That motherfucker is a dictator until he dies or decides it's time for fucking Don Jr. to take over. That was the fucking end game. What about president and fucking losing a fucking election, any of that shit? These assholes wanted to implant that dickhead as fucking dear leader for life. And just imagine how that shit would have looked for motherfuckers like me living under that shit. This is what they wanted. And this isn't what I would fucking say if I was one of these motherfuckers. Man, they're a lot smarter than me, so maybe this ain't the thing to say. But I believe you should hit home about how Trump And that mob would have killed every Democrat that they fucking came across. They would have killed every fucking Democrat and every rhino Republican, almost certainly, right off the bat. And the ones they didn't kill would have been like maybe Joe Manchin or some shit. He'd have got thrown in jail. They would have went around these different capitals in these different states and gathered and fucking basically either exterminated or put them in jail everybody that doesn't agree with fucking dear leader's ideology. That's how geeked up and in love with this fucking asshole they were. They want to kill people that don't agree with them. This is what they need to fucking do, man. They need to hit home that they would have killed every fucking Republican that didn't have their nose thoroughly implanted in Trump's ass. They need to fucking hit that shit home. These people were not playing. They were here to kill. And if they would have succeeded, they would have gathered up all these motherfuckers and either beat them to death, shot them to death, or hung them. That was the plan. And that was the plan for every congressman. That was the plan for every goddamn senator that didn't have their nose thoroughly implanted in Trump's ass. So yeah, some of it would have been safe. And they need to fucking reiterate how, yeah, Holly would have been safe. Ted Cruz would have been safe. But Mitt Romney would be dead. That Sass dude would be dead. Yeah, it's about something that never happened. It's total theoretical. But the way they were talking, kill all the fucking traitors. They considered everybody that wasn't kissing Trump's ass super hard a fucking traitor. They would have killed them people. They would have implanted Trump as a motherfucking new fascist king, dictator, whatever the fuck they wanted to call him. That would have been his fucking new station. Governors probably wouldn't have no more power. He would have took all that shit. And then the world, everybody except Russia and fucking North Korea would have been so freaked out at a crazy fucking despotic asshole in charge of our arsenal. It's almost certain we would have fucking, it'd have led to a goddamn war. Another world war. World War III. Because why would the fucking, all of our allies sit back and just be like, yeah, now we not only got Russia and North Korea to deal with and worry about, we got these fucking, this country that's, because they're seeing all the shit that we're seeing. So if they saw Trump take over illegally, they would know. And it would be up to them to say, okay, we accept this new fucking threat of second Russia, except more powerful with a bigger fucking arsenal. That would have been the start of a fucking war. China wouldn't have been having it. Europe wouldn't have had it. Several African countries would not be having that shit. They would have all banded together and we would be at war. And it would be us and Russia and North Korea against the rest of the world. That's the picture I would fucking paint. I'm sure motherfuckers could do it way more eloquently than I could. But there was an end game. And it wasn't, oh, we just want everybody to understand how much we love Trump and we're all gonna sing Kumbaya together as soon as you guys agree with debate and the strong words that we're going to use to make our point. No. They were going to kill people to make their point. And if I was a Democrat, I would hammer that fucking message through. I would use all the fucking things that they said about how they wanted to kill all the traitors to paint a really fucking obvious picture of what would have happened if these fucking rank amateurs, these dumbass Uncle Bobs, had actually succeeded. Trump would have been our fucking dictator right now, and we would be living under a completely new world order. That's what he wanted. That was the end game. Like I said, these motherfuckers need to come up with somebody way more eloquent than me and just fucking hammer these motherfuckers with that shit. Because tomorrow and the next day, it's going to be goddamn like watching Newsmax. They ain't worried about facts. They ain't worried about nothing. They just worried about stoking racism and throwing as much ignorant shit out there to confuse the people. That's what they're going to do. They're going to say Trump's words didn't have shit to do with anything. They're going to say all the planning they did didn't have shit to do with anything. It's just random mob of motherfuckers that just felt like going crazy for some reason. And they're going to be like racism. The motherfucking Republicans are going to eat that shit up. It's going to give them that excuse. But if I was a Democrat, man, for the record, for the historical record, I would paint that picture. I would paint that motherfucking picture of Trump as a dictator and his fucking kids in the wing waiting to take over. And what that would look like for all of us. That would be the new Nazis. I'm telling you, the world wouldn't have had it. We'd be at war right now. And we would be on the side of Russia and North Korea in that war. It's fucking crazy. February 12th, 2021. Walk on treadmill. Watching Hurt Locker. This motherfucker is actually pretty good. The way they have like all them directional bombs going on.
Tell me what you need.
I got so many of these DVDs that I ain't never really like watched. I was always paying attention to something else and shit when I was watching these things. Or maybe I just never like watched them that good because I was always planning on sometime just watching them. That's a pretty good fucking movie. Let's see, as far as the news, Democrats finished their shit up. It's pretty much just a whole reiteration of what they said the last 2 days. So the third day was kind of a waste, I thought. Wasn't very impressed. It just sucks because you don't want to end weak. Republicans, they ain't even gonna try. They got like 16 hours. They said they gonna take like 3. And they don't have to try. Bitch ass motherfucking Republicans. You just ain't gonna find 17 of them that's willing to go against Trump. Biden don't give a fuck. He ain't letting none of that shit bother him. That motherfucker. This movie is fucking crazy. As far as Yeah, Biden got like 200 million more vaccines. So that should have everybody in America covered that wants one of them some bitches.
I can't do it. I can't get it off. I'm sorry, okay? You understand? I'm sorry. You hear me? I'm sorry.
Dude's like, this shit is crazy. This dude's about to die. The fucking chick that made this, I think she did 0 Dark 30. Damn. Like, they did a really good job with the bombs and like showing how they fucking a different kind of bombs that these motherfuckers set up. That shit's crazy. Yeah. Joe Biden's doing his job, not being all up in the motherfucking videos, dancing. That shit. Nah, he doing like a president's supposed to be, man. That motherfucker's just handling business behind the scenes. It's good to see that shit.
You alright?
Nothing else really going on. Hey, you seen that shit where that fucking Rocky movie? Like oh yeah, walking on a treadmill still, obviously, and got done with Hurt Locker. Shit was pretty good. This motherfucking shit is Spring Breakers.
I'm lost. I have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah. I have watched this one good enough to know what I really think about it. But I said I'm gonna watch them all. So anyway, you ever seen Rocky 3? No, it's not even Rocky 3. It's Rocky 4. Motherfucking
I've got a whole theory about that. It's on my record. There's an organization called the SSB.
in the beginning, it's not Rocky fighting the Russian. It's Apollo Creed fighting the Russian. Right? Rocky's in retirement. He's like fucking Apollo Creed's trainer. Apollo Creed out there just smoking fools. Like, what? So the Russian steps up, talking all that Russian shit. And I remember he said something like, "I will break you." And motherfuckers like, ooh. Hey, my mom used to get geeked when I think I went to that movie with her. And she the type of person that would literally jump up out the seats and yell and scream like she had a real fight watching the motherfucking Rocky movies and shit. It was kind of cool. I used to be like all embarrassed and shit when she'd get like that, because she'd do that shit in all movies. She just get geeked up like that. But now it's like a really endearing kind of quality to just lose yourself like that. So I know I ain't always got a lot of good to say about my mom, but that is one thing that I always found is actually kind of cool about her. Anyway, in this motherfucking movie, goddammit, because I keep getting sidetracked, this motherfucking Apollo Creed is up against this fucking dude, Ivan Drago from Russia. He's big motherfucker, steroids up and all that shit. And they get to fighting, right? You know what I'm saying? He's challenged. He's like a nobody heard of him. And Apollo Creed, the champion, but for some reason he gonna fight this dude. I think it might even been an exhibition shit. I don't know. Watch that movie. I ain't finna watch it again try to get the exact plot down, but it's something like that. Anyway, Apollo Creed getting to fight this motherfucker. And from the beginning, man, you can see this shit wasn't going good at all. Like, Apollo was hitting him, you know what I'm saying? He's getting some good shots in, but he wasn't really doing nothing to him. And then this motherfucking Russian manager, man, he said this word. Something like, it must have been like go or some shit. And man, that motherfucker turned on the ass whooping on Apollo Creed. Now, as a little black kid watching that shit, a big old white dude beat the shit out of muscle brown, smaller black dude. He was muscle bound, but he was still smaller. I felt some kind of way about watching that shit. But I do remember the motherfucker in the corner with Rocky is this bald black dude. And he was like, after like maybe a round or maybe, yeah, I think he made it through one round. And motherfucker sat down in the corner. He was like, God damn, he killing you. This is supposed to be an exhibition. What the fuck? We gotta stop this shit. Because it's an exhibition, that's what it was. They weren't supposed to be swinging like they were swinging. But it's Russia against America back in the 80s. So, obviously. So they get back out there in a second. Fucking Apollo Creed going, getting them a little bit. And the dude says go. Pretty much right away. So fucking Russian dude just working his ass. Working him. And this is apparent that Apollo Creed, he don't give a fuck. He ain't going down. But unless this motherfucking Russian put him down. So Russia's turning it on. Boom! Hitting him with them shits. Boom! And at some point, the bald dude in the corner is like, throw in the towel! Like screaming at Rocky. Because Rocky is just like transfixed. And Apollo told him, man, don't you fucking throw in the towel. Like he told him that shit. So Rocky was trying to like stick to his word. But the old black dude was like screaming to throw in the towel. And I just remember the look on that motherfucker's face. That motherfucker was a good actor. At least according to my kid brain. Hey, that dude was a good actor. He was sweating this shit. And you almost want to scream with him, throw in the fucking towel. Watching that dude, Trump's lawyer, not the big, dumb, tall one, but the short, blonde one. That's the first time I've been reminded of that fucking movie. You know what I'm saying? Rocky movies don't stand out in my goddamn shit. I'm not a big Rocky fan now that I'm grown. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to be watching them Rambo movies, none of that shit. No fucking Conan the Barbarian. All them shits was great when I was a kid. But I'm too old for them shits now. But I'm just saying, man. That little dude, I was thinking, God damn. Pull that motherfucker off these Democrats. Like, seriously. This motherfucker was on their ass from the get-go. It was like, I said, it's gonna be a masterclass on whataboutism. And that's what the dipshit before him did. You know what I'm saying? A bunch of lame-ass whataboutisms trying to compare the fucking protests, just like I said they would do. That dude sucks. But then the little short dude got up there, and he just used the Democrat shit, like showing the actual, like, full picture of what dipshit was saying. Like, he even went back to that shit when they say there's fine people on both sides, when he's talking about that shit. Now, I actually remember when he was talking about Charlottesville and he said there was fine people on both sides. That's a bullshit argument because they played the full clip of that statement, but they did not play the full clip of that whole conversation. And he did spend a lot of time sticking up for these assholes that were supposedly not racist at all, and they're just good old fucking boys and all that shit, that were defending their Robert E. Lee history and all that shit that we're trying to steal from them or whatever. But that shit's fake because Robert E. Lee was a fucking lead insurrectionist, a traitor. And he was willing to fucking rebel against the country to keep me subordinate. So it's not even a question of were those people that were fighting for that shit good people. It don't matter if they had Nazi bands or if they were part of militia. None of that shit matters. They were there on the wrong side fighting for the wrong dude. So they weren't good people. At least at that point they weren't. They might go home and be good people all they want. I'm sure some of them Nazis were good people. And another thing that he stated was that the fucking Nazis that were talking all that shit about Jews will not replace us and walking around that statue with their candles, those were the people that he was referring to from the night before that were just completely calm and they were being nice. Like, he does at certain points kind of fucking denounce white supremacy and shit and white nationalists, even though he said himself he is a white nationalist, but that's a whole nother situation. He does say that, but he's also contradicting what he said just in the same fucking sentence before. Because he'll say, the night before they were all calm and there was nothing going on and they got attacked and all that shit. But he doesn't say the night before the people that were out by that statue, those were all Nazis. That's why they were saying Jews will not replace us. He saw that as maybe he didn't even fucking have the audio. But those were the people that he described as the night before getting attacked, and they were totally peaceful because they were carrying tiki torches, walking in a straight line. That's total peaceful protesting to him. And he said they got attacked. All I'm saying is the people from that night, the night before, were all Nazis. So he was wrong on that shit. And I'm not saying he's not guilty. The motherfucker is guilty as shit. But what I am saying is the fucking lawyer has made the argument that all that shit, when you take it into context, is him saying there was good people on both sides. And that's the argument that these asshole Republicans have been waiting for. They're like, see, we're not racist. We just wanted to fight for heritage and shit. Which is bullshit. We already know that's fuck garbage. But they eat that shit up. I don't think it's going to be a Republican that votes to convict that motherfucker. And I did think they fucking Democrats were making a mistake by manipulating that speech, because while I don't be watching that fucking dickhead speech, I did see that they had fucking said his words. They said they had kept cutting off his words right before he said the words peacefully and patriotically, because I had seen that clip go into the point where he did say peacefully and patriotically. And I did think that it was fucking bad sport to try to goddamn sneak that shit in without playing it, because you can still see the way the crowd was geeking up and the way that peacefully and patriotically and all them fucking euphemisms that he uses for violence, it was all being taken with a wink and a nod. He just couldn't wink into the camera. But it doesn't matter. The lawyer's gonna make that case, and the Republicans are gonna eat that shit up, whether they like it or not. And the fucking some of the Democrats, the Joe Manchins of the world, might end up switching, because there is incitement rhetoric on both sides. Trump's incitement was planned out to specifically stop the fucking count of the Electoral College. But the Democrats, like he played the little lawyer, he played the Democrats objecting. And everybody knows that shit has happened before to Trump's Electoral College. That shit's happened before even then. Like sometimes motherfuckers object, but they couldn't get nobody to sign on as a senator, so it didn't count. There's so much shit that, while it's good to get Trump being a douchebag on record, there's so many things that a motherfucker can get away with in this style of a case, because this ain't a real court case. This is a impeachment trial. Lindsey Graham, Ted Cruz, and some other dickhead went and met with the lawyers, with Trump's lawyers, to make sure they get a good idea of what's going on and any fucking help they could provide. In a true court of law, the fucking goddamn defense could never go hang out with the fucking jury. And you know what I'm saying? So this is not a real court of law. And what you're seeing is Congress, the fucking the impeachment lawyers, the prosecution, they're good. They did a very good emotional job. But they're not lawyers full time. Maybe they were good lawyers, but now they're congressmen. And that should be taking up more of their time than being lawyers. So even if they were still somehow practicing lawyers while they were congressmen, they're not going to be practicing full time. They're going to be doing their job in Congress, I would hope, full time. And then if they're still doing any lawyering on the side, that's exactly what it would be, on the side. And that little short dude, that lawyer for Trump, that motherfucker is a full-time practicing goddamn lawyer. This dude knows what he's doing. And watching a fucking professional lawyer that's full-time practicing and good at his job and doesn't have to follow the fucking rules, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. The congressmen, they understand they could do whatever the fuck they want to, and they kind of know how to manipulate, especially they know how to manipulate emotionally, especially because not only were they the prosecution, but they were part of the witness group. That shit happened to them. But that dude, the way he is just fucking shredding, and I say is because the motherfucker's still talking right now. I just had to get up and get a breath because I was like, God damn, he taking these motherfuckers apart. He taking their shit apart so nicely. That you gotta give him credit. It don't matter if I'm a lefty. And I know Trump guilty. Because it's not just the shit that he's talking about, the speech. It's the shit, the buildup. from, like I said, he was calling that shit back in the fucking 2015 primary. That if he lost every primary that he lost, he had got cheated. You know what I'm saying? And that everyone that he won was legit. He's been saying that shit forever. Now, a little lawyer, he ain't gonna bring that up, but the way he is playing these speeches, the same ones that the Democrats played, but he's playing them in full length. Man, that's exactly what the Republicans wanted to see. It's smart. You know what I'm saying? I am rarely impressed with Republican intelligence. Like, rarely. But this little dude, you gotta give it to him. That motherfucker smart as shit. He used the Democrats' words against them, just like they used Trump's words against him. And the reality is, you have to prove without without just any doubt at all that Trump is the absolute only reason that them idiots went up inside that fucking Capitol. And like I said, they're not children. If it was a bunch of fucking kids that went storming the fucking Capitol after what dipshit said, then yes, I would say 100% his fucking fault. But it wasn't. It was a bunch of grown-ass motherfuckers who knew exactly what the fuck they was doing. And they had planned it out publicly. So to say that Trump is the absolutely only reason that they fucking went up there and did what they did was a bafflingly bad argument. And a good lawyer is gonna shred that shit. And a good lawyer that doesn't have to play by the rules. Imagine if Johnny Cochran, as good as he was, didn't have to play by any rules. It would be a fucking slaughter. And that's what this little dude is like. Watching him versus like speak in reality. And even though these motherfuckers, the Democrats, did their job well, they pulled at the heartstrings of America. They showed exactly what Trump did and what he said and the effect of it and how he coordinated in working out the fucking date of his last ditch effort. All that had been chronicled even before the fucking Democrats put that 13-minute fucking video together. So everything that he did was well known. But I think what this fucking little guy did, because everybody knows Trump's guilty. Trump's gonna have to fucking deal with all them perfect calls. He's gonna have to deal with his finances. He's gonna have to deal with probably some questionable Russian shit.
Just pretend it's a fucking video game.
Because as much as this little guy wants to think everything that ever was talked about Trump is some kind of mean conspiracy against him, a lot of the shit they have against Trump is his own words. Trump did call on Russia. Then to say that Russia, this whole Russia investigation had no fucking evidence is crazy. Motherfuckers got locked up for that shit. And what's his name? Fucking dipshit got on goddamn TV and asked Russia to help. So they fucking helped. Now, I was never one of these motherfuckers that said because Russia helped. And really all they did was stoke a bunch of motherfucking racists and anger on both sides that had already existed for way before the Russians started fucking with us. So I never just blamed the fucking election on the Russians like a lot of these motherfuckers wanted to. But I do believe that these fucking Russians, man, they got so much more than what they paid for with the little bit of fucking time and effort and money that they spent fucking with our shit. I mean, they got their fucking money's worth with this shit, that's for sure. But Trump and that little lawyer, Trump should have had him out there from the beginning, man. Wasted his time with fucking around with the ghoul. Cause this little lawyer knows what he's doing, and he's sticking to the facts as he wants to call them. Like, impressively. Like, I haven't been as impressed with a fucking lawyer since watching Johnny Cochran. Straight up. This motherfucker, I would want that motherfucking lawyer working for me. That's how I put it. If I was in some trouble, I want that motherfucker working for me. Somebody like that. Somebody that's gonna do whatever the fuck. Whatever the fuck it takes. And it don't matter. He gonna go hard. He gonna go harder than the other side. And the other side went hard as fuck. So yeah, I'm impressed with that little dude. The other one is a joke. I mean, he tried a little bit harder. He actually wrote down his shit instead of just spitballing like he did last time. But that dude's a shit lawyer. But that little dude, that dude's a good lawyer. And he gave those fucking Republicans cover now to absolutely not convict. Trump is going to be acquitted. Probably with 0 Republicans vote, maybe Mitt Romney, because he knows the truth. But any fucking Republican that was worried about not having cover, that lawyer provided them with some serious cover. So these Democrats have been lying to your ass, and they've been using the media to lie to your ass. And the media does manipulate them videos. You see it all the time, and he just used it against them. And I don't give a fuck. Game recognized game. So just because I'm a lefty, don't mean I can't respect when I see motherfuckers that just got kicked in the balls for fucking 3 days. Instead of just fucking backing down, they come back and start karate fucking elbowing motherfuckers in the balls. Like, that little dude is a scrapper. Anyway, that's probably it for the day. But yeah, February 13th, 2021. Walking on treadmill, watching Spring Breakers. This movie is so bad. Hey, I guess I got one more thing to say about what happened yesterday in that trial. I think that shit, when I say it was a masterclass, that was a masterclass in lying. Like, an average lawyer should be a good liar. A good lawyer should be an excellent liar. And a lawyer that ain't got no fucking rules, that's good. Man, this motherfucker, that little dude. Hey, I still, you know what I'm saying? It's like I said, game recognized game. That motherfucker did a good job. He did his job. He did what his client wanted him to do. You know, throw a bunch of bullshit, just like I said he was gonna do. But that's what them Republicans was looking for. They was looking for somebody to scrap for them, somebody to get them out of that fucking corner that they were in. The Democrats put him in a corner, and he scrapped his way in there and got him a little bit of room to breathe. I think it's like what do you say? It was some of the lies the dude said were so outrageous that they only gon' like hit with motherfuckers that are in the bubble, like Antifa. Antifa was the one that, it was the first guy got arrested was Antifa. That shit. Talking about how it wasn't no motherfucking Russian interference and shit. And Chris Cuomo was like, what the fuck? They even took like one of Chris Cuomo's statements just completely out of context, while bitching about how the Democrats be fucking manipulating video and taking shit out of context. It was ridiculous, but it was also like just insane to watch that shit. It really was like a masterclass in whataboutism, because that's all they did. The whole time was like, yeah, Trump be saying that shit, but what about these guys and all this shit that they be saying? Yeah, stupid ass fight montage. Just totally rip it out of the motherfucking context. That's the word fight. Pretending that Trump didn't actually want motherfuckers to get violent and shit. Yeah, everybody says fight. These guys say fight. Listen to these guys. They say fight. That is so ridiculous. My kid was cracking up over that shit. He's like, fucking Elizabeth Warren. That shit is ridiculous though, man, for real. Hey, it's the way they. I forgot it was titties in this movie. But yeah, no. Fuck was I talking about? These motherfuckers was lying. And motherfucking, you can't object when a motherfucker be lying. He like, man, they didn't even give me no goddamn. It's like all that shit they talking about, this new goddamn evidence. How come we didn't get to see the evidence? And if you think about it for 1 second, you know that motherfucker saw that evidence. But he can say it because it's in the real court of law. It's like, I can say whatever the fuck I want because this dude can't object. The impeachment is different than a trial. You can say whatever the fuck you want, and the motherfuckers can't say shit. The lawyers on the other side just gotta sit there and take it. That motherfucker lied his ass off, but he did a goddamn good job of it. And them fucking Republicans don't give a fuck if he lying. They only give a shit that the rubes that they represent are gonna be fucking off of his ass, whether they're gonna come out and say that he shouldn't have fucking, been talking so much about the election fraud, but he didn't incite the shit, which is total bullshit, because he totally incited that shit. But he wasn't the only incitement to that fucking maggot crowd.
I'm glad you did it.
So I honestly think that little dude won the day. Even the big dude,
Better.
I don't know if it was this motherfucking plan to like just bore everybody to fucking death. But that motherfucker, he was so boring, it's like I couldn't even fucking pay attention. His tone, he had this slow monotone. And I guess after getting fucking kicked in the balls the other day, trying to freestyle, that motherfucker wrote some shit down. And man, he was a slow ass reader. So between the little short dude, just body blow with lies, and the big tall dumb motherfucker reading all slow, boring motherfuckers to death. I don't know. They won. That shit was ugly, but they got what they wanted. To me, it's amazing that you can just lie. You can just say whatever the fuck you want. It don't matter if we motherfuckers see the shit on TV, like the whole fucking the way they was like talking all that shit about taking shit out of context and manipulation, and then they use their own video in an ironic motherfucking, like, that had to, there's no way that was real. It was like so ironic that I think they did that shit on purpose, as to say, okay, these guys manipulated video, which they did. So you want to see a manipulated video, they come out with all this ridiculous shit and the fucking music and all that shit. But what's fucking crazy to me is the just, like, okay, we all remember that Trump came out of the fucking White House and wanted to, this summer, and wanted to hold that Bible up at that church across from the White House. So his motherfuckers protested out there and shit. And they came out of their barricade to shoot motherfuckers with rubber bullets, pepper spray, and they was beating motherfuckers to move them out of that goddamn square so Trump could go up there with a line of assholes behind him and hold the fucking Bible up, down, upside down, by the way.
Give me all your motherfucking money now!
Fucking did that shit.
You gotta learn, man.
And that little dude got up there and said, Trump cleared that fucking shit out because the protesters were attacking. Didn't have shit to do with wanting to go hold up a Bible. The only reason that shit got cleared out like that was because the protesters were attacking the White House and they had to save it by fucking going ham on motherfuckers. Like, the other lawyers couldn't even fucking object to that. Something that we've all seen on TV. They couldn't even object to it. These fucking impeachment trials are a joke. Like, I do think that it was the right thing to show what that motherfucker did for history, for that shit to go down. And this defense, while it worked to save these Republican senators' asses, because they could just say, well, look at what the Democrats did. Because that's what they're gonna do. Even though the shit was all bullshit, they're just gonna be like, look at what the Democrats did. That's what they do. So all these motherfuckers, they were sitting on the fence, they gonna be on the side of the Trump when this shit comes down. They gonna hold their head down and do it ashamedly. I mean, Kevin McCarthy, man, he called Trump up and was like, hey, man, we in trouble. You need to call these motherfuckers off, man. You can do this. You the only motherfucker that can do this. Not all the shit they was talking about on fucking TV, where you had all these Republicans calling different TV shows and asking them to fucking do something about it because they know he be watching TV. But that motherfucker actually got on the phone with this motherfucker and was like, man, we need help. And Trump was like, look, man, I don't give a fuck about you. I don't give a fuck about Mike Pence. I don't give a fuck about none of y'all motherfuckers. Them is my people. He hung up on that motherfucker like McCarthy was like, who the fuck you think you talking to? And Trump was like, I'm talking to you, motherfucker. Click. He didn't give a fuck that they was under attack and refused to help. And it don't matter. The Republicans bitches. He gonna get away with it. February 13th. It's still February 13th.
Lucky year.
Walking on treadmill. Watching Spring Breakers. This movie is like obviously stupid as fuck.
Something, yeah.
But it's like entertaining and interesting. And I gotta assume they definitely understand the irony. Like they're being ironic and shit. But I mean, it's a cool movie. It's just, I don't know, in the beginning it's like really, you know, Barbie girl type shit. But it's still fun. It's just like a good, ironic, stupid movie. I just saw Mitch McConnell do something that I ain't never seen before. Motherfucker got up in front of all them motherfuckers and just told the truth. And just spoke his mind without giving a shit about fucking anybody starting a Twitter war. He just came out and said some real shit. He basically said all the shit I've been saying this whole time. But I mean, he said it way, like, I'm not gonna say he said it better than I could say it. He just said it in a way for the records. You know what I'm saying? That shit'll go down in history. He did a good job. He said exactly what the fuck happened. He didn't whitewash it. He fucking pointed the finger straight at Trump. And he just said, you know, it wasn't our job to impeach him, but it's plenty of motherfuckers that can hold him criminally accountable for the bullshit that he pulled. Like, he went in on Trump. Like, I was surprised. I mean, I ain't fucking praising him because while he did do a good job and he finally told the truth about what he's really feeling, the reason why I really don't fuck with Republicans, because they know the truth. Just like Mitch McConnell got up there and fucking said, they know what's really going on. They know the truth. They just, every time when they're faced with it and they faced with the cameras at the same time, they bitch up. It's like, instead of just saying what he said months ago, you know what I'm saying? He just always does that little smirky shit and doesn't answer questions and acts like you an asshole for asking him these obvious questions. And motherfuckers be wondering why motherfuckers don't respect these dudes. I don't just like Democrats and hate Republicans. First of all, I think a lot of shit that Democrats do is pussy as fuck. And I don't like it.
me tell you.
But there's also the shit that the Republicans do is just so smarmy. You can ask them a normal motherfucker question. How you feel about these dudes chasing you out of the motherfucking Capitol, threatening to kill Mike Pence? And they be like, I got no comment, or I never saw the tape. You know, shit like that. That's just like, why you don't just answer the question? And the reason why they don't answer the question is because they scared. They some scared ass bitches. So they fucking pretend that it's all about just being a dick to the media. But you ain't being a dick to the media, you being a dick to everybody that sees that shit. And they lose respect for your ass. Mitch McConnell is a very easy to not like person because of the way he fucking acts. And especially when you know when he talks like he did today, and you've known this for a while, the dude has a brain. So all them stupid answers and fucking smirks that he gives all the time, it's just what you always knew. He's fucking acting. He's fucking with you. He says he's fucking with the media, but he knows this motherfuckers watching that shit. So he's fucking with all of us. And it just, it's shown in 3D, man, when you see these motherfuckers actually tell the truth for once. I actually agree with what he said. There's plenty of motherfucking remedies for that fucking dipshit. But impeachment wasn't gonna be it. And not just because you can't get 17 motherfuckers to go with you on that shit from the other side. And they actually did get quite a few. They got 7, which is a lot more than I thought. Especially after seeing that fucking little dude just jump all over the fucking Democrats with his lie kung fu. But he ended up getting 7 of them motherfuckers to flip. But you needed 17. And Mitch McConnell knew, man, you wasn't gonna get 17 of his people to fucking flip. So you was wasting time as far as that goes. But the Democrats put a good case together for history. Motherfuckers can judge. They can read that shit. They can study up on it. Cause it's gonna be word for word in the textbooks, and it's gonna be all kinds of video for motherfuckers to watch in the motherfucking. This motherfucker. This is so stupid. Anyway, Mitch McConnell did a good job in his end speech, but it just does like come off as hollow because Republicans ain't trying to hear that shit. They don't like the truth. And Democrats is like me, is like, where the fuck was all that goddamn honesty at? Before. It just makes you like angry. And I think these motherfuckers will get a lot more respect throughout the country and worldwide if they wasn't playing these goddamn stupid ass games all the time. Like, I get to the point where I can't stand motherfucking Republicans. And they get to the point where they can't stand us because their fucking leadership treats everybody with such disdain that it fucking rubs off on these assholes, the rubes. It's all bullshit. They're playing a game so the rubes stay mad. I don't fucking understand why they do it. I mean, maybe it's some way to keep the rubes in line or keep them, just constantly have them in conflict So they ain't thinking about what you doing to them. Because the rubes are constantly voting against their own best interests. And it's got to have something to do with the way these motherfuckers be ginning them up. With these dumbass lies that motherfuckers can see through from a mile away. But they eat them up, and I guess that's just... My God. This fucking movie is the worst. Jesus Christ. Anyway. This motherfucker's sucking on a fucking gun right now. For fuck's sake. That's what the fuck I'm watching. Anyway. I just think that, what is it, Mitch McConnell and the Republicans would do us all a big favor. Whether we agree with them or not, just start fucking telling the truth about how you feel and what you really see going on. So we're not all living in goddamn dumbass fucking... Oh my God, he is still sucking on a fucking gun. Jesus Christ. Mitch McConnell and all these Republicans wouldn't come off so smarmy even if we didn't agree with him, if they would just tell the truth about what they was really feeling. Because when you don't, you come off as sneaky. Nobody trying to hang out with no sneaky motherfuckers. Tell the truth about what's going on in your fucking mind, and then let motherfuckers decide is that the right idea or not. But just sitting around acting like being a dick, that's the way to teach motherfuckers to be. I was watching Judas and the Black... Judas and the Black Messiah last night. Hey, HBO killing it with that shit. I'm telling you, man. All I know is fucking... I've been watching all them shits when they pop up. Because that's a fucking brilliant move on HBO. Out of all these motherfucking shits that we got, these apps, that's definitely one that we gonna be keeping, especially if they keep doing what they doing. I mean, Wonder Woman was a piece of shit. That shit was horrible. But I sat through that motherfucker and watched it because it's for free. And then just yesterday, I saw that shit like a couple months ago. It's just yesterday, I saw that shit was on demand early access on a fucking Dish for like $20. And I got to see it like 2 months ago, chilling in the crib for free. Well, not free, you gotta pay the HBO shit, but it's worth it now. HBO killing it. But Judas and the Black Disciple came on last night. And that's just about how these motherfuckers, how they split us up and shit. Like the dude it was about is a dude in Chicago. My God, why the fuck do I keep forgetting these names? Like, I know this dude's name. I know this dude's name in the fucking movie. And for some reason, I can't fucking remember these motherfuckers' names. And I just had it in my fucking brain a couple minutes ago. Anyway. My God. There's like Britney Spears songs all through this fucking movie. This is such a hit movie. So Judas and the Black Messiah comes on, and it's just basically about how they fucking split us up. It's not necessarily that they just love white people and hate black people. It's not that simple. A lot of that shit has to do with economics. Like back in the 70s, these dudes fucking band together. It was like rednecks banded with Black Panthers, banded with like Latin Kings back in Chicago. That's crazy. You know something? It's still February 13th. I was thinking about that shit that when I was like, how the cops be going in on lefties on the just like they do black people in these riots. Not exactly like, but you didn't see them helping any lefties down the fucking stairs or any of that shit in the fucking protests over the summer over them deaths by the hands of the pig. So when you see that okay, some got me thinking. It's when dipshit brought up Charlottesville and his whole rendition of what happened. You know what I'm saying? I started thinking about that shit again. And that night where them assholes was walking around with the fucking tiki torches talking about Jews will not replace us and all that shit, those fucking Nazis. They did get into a big old fucking like riot, fight, whatever the fuck, with the anti-protesters. So you got the fucking, I don't know if it's Antifa, because Antifa is not a real thing. This is stupid. Antifa is not an entity. Antifa is an ideology maybe, but it's not a real thing. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna stop anti-fascism, just like you're not gonna stop fascists. There's a new fascist just was born just now. Fascism is not gonna go away. Anti-fascism ain't gonna go away either. So these dumb fucking morons, they keep calling Antifa a thing. Like it's a real group of motherfuckers to get together to be like, we're Antifa. No, it's not like that. If you're against fascism, you are Antifa, whether you like it or not. You let these assholes turn anti-fascism into some kind of goddamn thing, then it'll be a problem. Anti-fascism is not a thing. It's a goddamn ideology. It's a way people should think. You should be against bullies and dickheads. Most of us are, until they turn into one of them for some reason when they fucking grow up. No, I'm not no psychologist. I ain't trying to get into all that. But I do know that fascist, which is basically says, I'm the fucking strongest, I got the most money, so it doesn't matter how shitty my ideas are, I run shit. You fucking just eat it up. That's fascism in a goddamn quick synopsis. I mean, I've heard all kinds of goddamn different, like, actual definitions of fascism. But from what I see, fascism is a fucking cult of personality.
Listen, I just want to let you know that I'm coming home.
Around one,
School and everything,
usually a dude or one corporation is what it usually is in like books and shit. But it's a coalescence of ideas, bad ideas usually, around one dude that says he knows what's best for everybody. And it's typically extremely full of shit. So being anti-fascist is a good thing. But when I was thinking about that fucking Charlottesville fight, the night before the real fucking riot kicked off, where they fucking Nazis killed somebody, by the way, that girl Heather Heyer. People forget Charlottesville was not just a simple thing, a bunch of assholes fucking protesting about people wanting to get rid of their heritage. Charlottesville, first of all, that whole fucking heritage shit is bullshit. A lot, and I mean a shit ton of these statues, a lot of these assholes think that those statues have just been around since the Civil War and before. And immediately after. And they're just paying homage to their heritage. But no, those statues, a lot of them, those Southern heritage bullshit statues, were put up in the 60s and the 50s to intimidate people thinking about getting their civil rights and all that fucking equality. Piece of shit, stupid ideas like that. Those fucking statues were put up in answer to the people seeking civil rights. There's an intimidation thing. And it did not come from back when those fucking traitors got their asses handed to them in that war. It came back in the night, just like a little bit before I was born, basically. So, first of all, these dumbasses that are bitching about their fucking history being fucked with, they don't even know their own fucking history as far as these stupid ass statues. And they probably don't know much of their real history because they ignore it and they're not taught it in school. Amber Ruffin was talking shit about how we should have a fucking white history month to teach these motherfuckers about real fucking history. Because they think they know, but they don't. We do get this terribly dumbass whitewashed version of fucking history, and it makes us stupid as a country. You got motherfuckers walking around really still believing that George Washington could never tell a lie and shit like that. That becomes a problem, man, when they're never brought into reality. Very easily manipulated. And we tell ourselves that we're exceptional. So it makes it okay to be stupid. Because you're exceptional. It's fucking ridiculous. But goddamn, I keep getting stirred away. The Charlottesville fight, I remember it was lefties on one side, Nazis on the other. Let's just put it like that. Because there were definitely Nazis. All Nazis on the what side that night. So they're fighting, and they show this fucking Nazi that's sitting on the ground, and motherfuckers is pouring milk on his face, because that's what you're supposed to do when you get maced. Pour milk on that shit. Water don't do a motherfucking thing, trust me. So dickhead's getting milk poured on his fucking face, and one of the reporters asked him what happened, and the dickhead says, he goes, "A fucking commie sprayed me with mace." That's what he said. He said, "Fucking commie sprayed him with mace." So that's why these fucking pigs are okay with beating the shit out of fucking whites that are on the left. Because the cops, let's face it, man, a lot of them motherfuckers, shit ton, I've given goddamn example after example. These motherfuckers have clearly been infiltrated by, they were started by white supremacist ideology. And there's just so much of it in the leadership of the cops. And you ain't never gonna get rid of it. But white supremacist ideology, first of all, it's stupid as fuck. Because every white motherfucker I came up against in a physical altercation, it was very clear that these dudes ain't fucking superior to shit. Like, I talk about how I've slapped dudes before and shit. Like, I've been in fights before. I've been in plenty of fights. I got my ass kicked plenty of times too. But the only times I ever slapped somebody, twice. Two dudes, both grown, both white. And both were so obviously not on my level that it wasn't even worth taking the time to fucking fight them. I just smacked them up real quick. I swear to God, it's true. Now, I'm not saying all white dudes is fucking pussy asses, these dudes that I came up against. I'm just saying, very clearly, all our souls are equal. Very clearly, all our lives are equal. We're raised differently, so we think that we're so different. But we're all the fucking same inside. And I'm not a bully. It's not something that I do at the time. But when I would come up against dudes, they were obviously not on my levels. I didn't want to beat the shit out of them, but I wasn't finna take no shit neither. So I just smack him. Open-handed. Usually a backhand. Now that I think about it. So I'm just saying, that whole fucking superiority, shut the fuck up. You ain't physically superior, you ain't mentally superior, we're all equal. I mean, I'm not even gonna get into the whole sun shit, but the reality is we're all equal. Ain't nobody superior. But these motherfuckers believe that shit. They're taught that shit from fucking birth. So it makes sense that they fucking embrace it. It's good for them. They get money and status in society from that shit. And whites that espouse, normal thinking, like we're all equal and we should all be nice to each other and shit. To them, to a fucking racist piece of shit, it's like they're selling them out. They probably feel similar to the way I feel about black Republicans in that sense. So when I be like, man, why the fuck they helping this one group of whites, they walking them down the stairs, and then this other group of whites, the cops are shooting in the fucking face with goddamn rubber bullets. Like, they didn't kill that dude when I saw that dude got shot square in the fucking between his eyes. He didn't die, but he almost died. The motherfucker had a hole in his skull from where he was shot. He was in the hospital for a long time and he almost died. But the cops didn't give a fuck and nobody got in trouble for the shit. And it was a white kid that got shot. So if you're gonna really think about why would they do that to one group of whites and the exact opposite to another group of whites. I mean, there's another one where there's a white dude out in Portland standing up, not hitting, not doing anything aggressive, just standing there. He had a fucking Navy shirt on. He's a motherfucking vet. And these fucking pigs surrounded him and started hitting him with fucking batons and shit. We all seen it. Because he's standing up for Black Lives Matter. He didn't like that fucking picture or that video of George Floyd's death, just like I didn't like it. It affected him to the point where he wanted to go out and say something about it. And he peacefully protested, and he got beat on for it. I really don't think that it's as simple as a white and black thing. I think that just like these racist, fascist assholes hate black people, I think they also hate the whites that don't believe in their bullshit. And they call them commies, short for communists. That's something I heard Trump say once too, and I gotta imagine he got admonished for it, so he stopped saying it, publicly at least. But Trump had called a bunch of Democrats commies, the radical left, a bunch of fucking communists, shit like that. You start calling motherfuckers communists, that whole McCarthyism fucking shit that went down. When you do that shit and you split the whites in half between a capitalist ideology and a socialist, man, that shit can get bloody quick. And right now we got one side, these Republicans, and you got these, and we're talking about all whites, and then you got these liberals, which I don't exactly consider lefties, but motherfuckers on the left that don't believe in the white supremacist ideology. The people on the right, or people on the left, call the people on the right rednecks. Rednecks, dicks, racist assholes, shit like that. The people on the right call the people on the left fucking race traitors and communists. So one side is taking this shit a lot more fucking personal and hateful than the other. And one side is, I think, way more represented in the cops, somewhat in the military too, but much more in the cops. These motherfuckers that not only hate me, but they hate the whites that don't agree with them. And they call them communists. Communists is the American enemy. Back when I was a kid, the commies were the Russians that were threatening to fucking nuke us. And we were threatening to nuke them. It was the Cold War. So for people on the right, which the Nazis and Trump type motherfuckers are, like it or not, they're on the right, entrenched. They consider people basically on the left enemies of the state. That's why they don't answer any real questions. They just have no respect. They treat people on the left like we used to all treat Russians back in the 80s. There's a real fucking hatred going on in that maggot crowd, where a lot of these motherfuckers play with it when they're younger, call them motherfuckers communists, but as they get older, that shit becomes more real. And a lot of these right-wing militias right now, they're running around talking about you already know it, the racist shit that they got going, but a lot of shit that people are ignoring is the fact that they call people on the left that are white commies. That is an extreme disdain. People need to start paying attention to that shit, because when you start breaking this shit down, the good Americans versus the commies, the real Americans versus the communists and the socialists, And like I said, socialism has its place. But right now, it's a dirty word, and the motherfuckers on the left have not stuck up for that shit. Because, quite frankly, it's associated with fucking Russia and Nazis. And black people are down with the Black Panther part, but black people ain't finna go out and espouse socialism as the answer when Nazis was down with that shit. Now, if a motherfucker can explain that shit to where, you know, it's acceptable and we understand that there's some kind of fucking abhorrent, you know, not real socialism, then that's one thing. But look at capitalism. Capitalism does not work. It could work if everybody was fair and we was all treated equally and, you know, there wasn't no fucking bullshit. Capitalism could work great, but it doesn't. It only works for a certain few, certain privileged few. So when you start like pretending that capitalism is so fucking absolutely the right answer and anybody that goes against it is a communist, socialist, that's the start of a fucking, those are some fighting words. And I don't think the people on the left quite realize that that's what they're being called. And I'll bet you that's why the cops feel totally entitled to be beating on these white motherfuckers on the left. Because we see them beating on black people on the left all the time. But it's kind of shocking when you see them beating on white people. So you have to answer the question. Or at least ask the question, why they doing it? We know why they beating on black people, because they hate us. They racist. Why they beating on white people? Well, they don't beat on white people. They beat on white people that are on the left. And they also call you communists. Y'all motherfuckers better be paying attention. Because it's not just black people that need to start worrying about these fucking domestic terrorists, these militias, and all these assholes on the right, the extreme right. It's these motherfuckers on the left need to start paying attention. Their hate for you is very close to how much, to that level of hate that they got for me. Because they calling y'all motherfuckers the shit that we were calling our greatest enemy back in the 80s. And ain't nobody paying attention to this shit. So yeah, it's Valentine's Day tomorrow. Hopefully it don't rain so we can do Scooter Gang. Anyway, February 14th, 2021. Working on treadmill, watching Wanted. This show's alright, but I'm like sick of it because I've seen it a million times. But I haven't seen it in a while. Yeah, I know this show pretty much frame by frame. Got through Spring Breakers pretty quick. Probably get through this one pretty quick. Oh my God. That show was really bad. So, as far as the news, Nancy Pelosi getting in Mitch McConnell's ass for that bullshit he tried to pull yesterday. She was like, this motherfucker talking all this shit about how he knows Trump is guilty. And motherfucker, he wanted to do all this and that, but he just felt like since the time had run out, that he couldn't do shit because he was out of the presidency. And in his mind, we can't fucking, we ain't supposed to be fucking with him after office, even though he was impeached in office. So be real about some shit. That was his excuse. And part of that excuse was the time. Part of the time excuse was you can't be doing a trial after the president's out of office. But I remember Nancy Pelosi wanted to give him the motherfucking papers while this bitch ass motherfucker was still in office. And Mitch McConnell was like, no, I'm not calling the Senate back until after the inauguration. So for Mitch McConnell to be bitching about not being able to do this shit, or not wanting to do this shit, basically because Trump was out of office, is bullshit. Because dickhead or McConnell waited. He waited till Trump was out of office before he would accept the papers from the Senate. It's just fucking like a real circular argument. McConnell's acting all innocent and shit and talking about, yeah, I know Trump guilty. Fuck that dude, Trump. Trump's a piece of shit. Talking all that shit yesterday. But in reality, he trying to have his cake and eat it too. He trying to wag his finger at Trump and then wag his finger saying, hey, I would have did this shit if y'all have gave me the shit on time. But the motherfucker wouldn't even accept it.
My job title is account manager.
All the Republicans, they be playing these dumbass games like Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham still had a little bit of power left over because motherfucking these assholes hadn't made their fucking committee picks yet. So when they're making their fucking committee picks, the last one was the judiciary. So Lindsey Graham is still fucking sitting there making goddamn decisions. And this fucking presidency is already kicked off. Lindsey Graham making decisions on when they gonna motherfucking go see or talk to Merrick Garland. And of course, instead of just doing it, this motherfucker delays it until they finally kicked his ass out of the fucking seat, got a Democrat in there, and now the time's set. These motherfuckers play these dumbass games. They're like, oh, I don't want to set a date while this fucking trial's going on. Motherfucker, you know goddamn well that trial was going to be done within a week. So he could have set a date. He's just a piece of shit and didn't want to do it. It's a good thing that all those motherfuckers are out of power. You know, I just want to see what these fucking Democrats gonna do with it. Like I said, Nancy Pelosi, she'll call these motherfuckers out. But she is also a moderate. She pretends to be motherfucking. That's why I ain't the biggest Nancy Pelosi fan. I like that she hates Republicans. I mean, she fucking hates Republicans. But she's still moderate. Always trying to walk that motherfucking middle road and shit. The leader of the left should be absolutely all the way on the left, in my opinion. I think that shit's insane. They got all these fucking moderates in charge. It's Valentine's Day. There's if you looking in the motherfucking dictionary for love, it's fucking, they say it's like a strong affection for different kinds of people, basically. It's like such a generic ass motherfucking definition. I mean, you look a little bit deeper into it, they talk about eros. There's one form of love, then agape is another form of love. Like love of family and shit. They basically tell you about the end result. When they're talking about what is love. It's like, well, it's a strong affection for somebody. Maybe in your family, maybe not. And Eros, like getting shot with Cupid. Really? That's all you got? Because those definitions don't tell nobody how to find love. I don't even know if they tell you what love is once you're actually in it. They're so fucking generic, these fucking definitions. I figured I'd come up with my own shit, and that shit fucking works. I figured this shit out, I would say probably when I was about around 25, I started thinking about what is love really? And I came up with TRLL, and then later on I added E. So it comes out Trilla, but as an easy way to remember it. But TRLLE. This motherfucking Wanted has one of the best opening scenes ever. I mean, it's like really average ass movie, but this opening scene is the shit. Anyway, TRLLE stands for trust, respect, loyalty, lust, and equal expectations. That's how you find love. If you can find all those ingredients, because, okay, another thing Webster's doesn't define the difference between love and being in love. Being in love is when you have all of those things. TRLLE. Love is just having one of those things. So you can love somebody because you trust them. You feel deep trust for them. You love them. You have somebody that's extremely loyal to you. That's a form of love. So, you respect somebody a lot. That's a form of love. And if you have equal expectations, that can become a form of love. So you just have one of those things. You can think, you can mistakenly think that you're in love with somebody because you really trust them or because you really have respect for them or something like that. But the reality is, you're not in love until you have all of them. All of them together. If you find those 5 fucking things in one person, I don't give a fuck if you're 14. I don't give a fuck if you're 50. It's real. If you find somebody that you trust and they trust you, you respect and they respect you, you are loyal to and they're loyal to you, and you have equal expectations. Both of you feel the same way about how y'all want to have your future, or you want the future to go. You find all, and then there's lust. Lust is the one that gets most mistaken for just love all the time. It's lust, but lust is probably like the least of the real. Like, you can love somebody because you're extremely lustful for them. That is a form of love, and it's the one that's mostly mistaken for jumping into a relationship for. You know, you feel lust for a motherfucker, you jump into a relationship. If you have all 5 of those motherfuckers, you will. You will find somebody that you can be with for the rest of your life. That's just a guarantee. That's just a fucking, you will find somebody that you can be with for the rest of your life. That's just a guarantee. That's just a fucking fact. Now, obviously, it's a fact that came from my motherfucking opinion, from my mind. So it might be a fact that just fits me perfectly. But I also think anybody that finds these fucking 5 things in one person, there's no way that it won't last. That shit will last forever. I don't care if you a little kid and they call it puppy love. That shit is real. If you can find all 5 of those qualities. When you trust somebody, it's like when that person says when that person says she gonna be somewhere, then you know she gonna be there. She says she gonna go somewhere, you ain't worried about it. You just know that she's telling you the truth. So you're never worried. And she doesn't worry about you either. She don't be nagging you. She don't be sweating you. She believes you when you tell her something because you're telling her the truth. And she knows it. You guys trust each other like that. That's trust. Now, all of these forms, TR, L, and the E, can be, well, not the E. TRL, trust, respect, loyalty. Those are things you can find within your family. You know what I'm saying? You love your brother because you trust him so much. You know what I'm saying? You love your best friend because the motherfucker's always down for you. Loyal. These are things that you can have outside of a relationship. These are real feelings of true love that you can have for somebody outside of like a relationship. So they're real. Equal expectations and lust are what makes a fucking relationship. They turn that fucking, friendly feelings that you have towards your family and friends into something that you would put on a chick. Or if you're a chick, you would put it on a dude. Equal expectations and lust. Trust is the most important out of all 5 of them, in my opinion. You break trust, that it doesn't matter. That's everything else is going to erode eventually. So as long as you find somebody you trust, she trusts you, y'all stay together. Because y'all believe each other and you don't break the fucking trust. Once you break the trust, man, that shit is hard to get back. Respect, that shit comes and goes because nobody is always going to have a fucking relationship where they're 100% happy with each other all the time. Motherfuckers argue and the respect goes up and down. It fluctuates. But as long as you can bring it back up to where it needs to be, the relationship will be fine. Loyalty is probably the least of these because loyalty fluctuates majorly. Because there's people that are more loyal to their family, some people that are more loyal to their friends. And if you're in a relationship like that where motherfuckers more loyal to their family than they are to you, after a while you're gonna start feeling some kind of way about it. It's just real. And if you're in a relationship where motherfuckers more loyal to their friends than to you, that shit is never gonna work. I've been in a lot of relationships, so I know that I can speak from like a real educated point of view on this shit. If you with a chick that's more loyal to her friends than you, that is never gonna work. If you're with a chick that's more loyal to her family, it can get iffy, but you can maneuver around that shit. Because the reality, loyalty is always gonna be the least of the fucking things, because if you end up being with a chick and you have a kid with her, then the loyalty that she had for you, it's gonna go to the kid. And it's your kid, so it's fine. So she's no longer gonna have you as the top motherfucker that she's loyal to anyway, if you're doing the relationship right. Because eventually that loyalty will go to the kid, and it should. So loyalty, it is important, but it's one of them, just like respect, it's gonna fluctuate. The one you don't want to fluctuate is trust. Trust needs to be unbreakable. Motherfucker say she gonna do something, you know she gonna do it. You say you're gonna do something, she knows you're gonna do it. That shit needs to be there. Lust definitely fluctuate, but in the beginning of any relationship, if you don't have lust, then y'all probably wasting y'all motherfucking time. Because if you're with somebody, you should want to fuck. You should want to fuck all the time. That should be all you fucking thinking about. If you're in a good relationship in the beginning. After a while and shit, it doesn't become as important. The other ones become more important. But lust is extremely important in the beginning. Lust is when you want to fuck, when you constantly want to be around this person. So the definitions in my mind of trust is where you say something, she believes you without question. She says something, you believe her without question. She does something, you absolutely believe it's in your best interest all the time. You never doubt it. That's trust. Respect is like when you like somebody. It's you admire this person. You would be friends with this person whether y'all was fucking or not. That's respect. You like this is a cool motherfucker that I'm with. That's respect. Loyalty, you pick that motherfucker over everybody, including your family. If you're truly loyal to somebody, it doesn't matter if your mom is like, I don't like that bitch. It don't matter if your dad is like, I don't like that bitch. It don't matter if all your friends are like, man, fuck that bitch. You pick her over everybody. And if they don't like it, they can fuck off. That's loyalty. That's true loyalty. And if she feels that same way about you, y'all motherfuckers are good. Trust me. Loyalty is great. But like I said, it fluctuates. And then you have lust. As I just said, lust is where you just want to be around this one. You just like to touch her. You just want to fucking, just be around and fuck and kiss and hug and just be touching titties and grabbing ass and everything is good. Nothing's out of bounds because you trust each other. Lust is great and it's extremely important, like I said in the beginning. If you ain't got lust to build on all the other ingredients, you have a hard time. And then equal expectations. You can't have TRL, and then one of you wants to have a fucking that shit is so stupid. But it's actually really cool. They got some good ass motherfucking special effects for this. And I love Angelina Jolie. But equal expectations. Can't have one motherfucker that wants to have a baby at 19 and the other motherfucker wants to wait until they're 30 and established. You can have everything else totally great, but if you have unequal expectations, it'll ruin it in the end. It'll tear apart everything. So I'm not saying you can't be in a relationship where you don't have all 5 of these things, but I am saying if you want to truly find what all of these motherfucking like famous couples and like throughout history and motherfuckers that really made it last and all that shit, you're not gonna find it in a dictionary. But I do believe if you can find somebody you trust, respect, you're loyal to, you have lust for, and you have equal expectations, I don't see how that couldn't work out. I've been in one of those relationships in my life, and it's still going right now. And I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. Every other relationship I've ever been in was missing at least one of those components. TRLLE. Trilling. Every relationship. And I've been in a lot. I'm telling you, man. I've been in a lot. I'm telling you, man. Every single one of them was missing at least one of those components. Now, the reality is, different motherfuckers could probably come up with an even more comprehensive list than Trella. But to me, I think when you start looking too deep into this shit, then it's going to be too hard to find. But most people know what the first 3 ingredients are because they see it in their family and their friends. So the other 2 shouldn't be that hard to find. As long as you're making yourself available. If you're one of these people that closes themselves off, never like looks at chicks never looks at the opposite sex in the eye. Like if you never look a chick in the eye when she's talking to you, man, you are fucking, you're fucking up. Your eyes are the most powerful thing that you got in your fucking, that you have on your body. As far as like to let somebody understand and know that you're interested. Your eyes are even more important than your mouth in the beginning, because every time I met a chick, and every time anybody meets anybody, it's eye contact. It's eye contact, and then we talk. Then we approach each other, and then talk. If you constantly looking down or too fucking shy to look a motherfucker in the face and just talk about the things that you know and the things that you care about. We all have those things. That's how you find these fucking, that's how you find relationships. I see these motherfuckers all the time talking about how hard it is to find a relationship in the fucking online age and shit like that. It's because, yeah, online ain't real. You go on eHarmony or something like that, then you can find fucking real love and shit. Even though I find that shit just, it works for some people. Let's put it like that. Not for me. But these fucking places that a lot of kids nowadays are looking for love, especially women, looking for love on a fucking dating site. That shit is fucking insane to me. I mean, in the beginning of the internet, so I used to fuck around a little bit with that shit. And what you notice right away is this shit is not made for a fucking relationship. This shit is made for, most of these dating sites are just that. They're made for dating. And if you know how to date well, then you're gonna fuck if you know what you're doing. So really those dating sites are like fuck sites that for people that know what they're doing. So you see all these motherfuckers talking about they looking for love and all that shit. It's like, motherfucker, you better go pay for that shit on eHarmony or something if that's what you're looking for. But if you on a free fuck site looking for love and you shocked that you can't find it, my God. Everybody on a fucking dating site is talking to each other. So if you're talking to some chick on a dating site, she's talking to 30 other motherfuckers. Just like you talking to 30 other motherfuckers. So there's no trust to be made from fucking around on a date site. That's why you don't fucking get no relationships or no real ones. And motherfuckers be wondering how come I can't get into a real relationship. I'm such a great person. Because you're on a fucking place that's meant for people that got game to be able to take advantage of motherfuckers that don't. Basically, that's what all those sites are. So this generation thinking they gonna find love online, man, they need to slow their roll with that and go back to the old school of going to parties, now obviously during a pandemic, it ain't so great. Can't do that shit. But after, going to parties, going to clubs, get your buzz on, don't get sloppy drunk. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucking make eye contact with people. You know what I'm saying? Leave yourself open. Open to criticism and compliments. And don't react to either of them in too visceral of a way. Because none of them are a big deal. People are gonna hate you and people are gonna like you. Some people are gonna like you too much. Some people are gonna hate you too much. But the reality is you should not let that affect the type of person that you are in any way, shape, or form. If you can walk through the motherfucking world with confidence, knowing who you are, willing to make eye contact with people, willing to talk to people about things that you know and you're interested in, and willing to listen when they're telling you about the things that they're interested in and the things that they know. You should not have any problem at any time dealing with anybody in the world. I don't know about the world, but I can go anywhere in America and deal with any group of people at any time. Like, I have that type of confidence in myself. Now, a big chunk of it is because I grew up around all white motherfuckers in Minnesota and all black motherfuckers in Chicago, and then a major mix of white and Mexican and black out here in Salt Lake. I don't know, man. I know this is a fact. If you make eye contact with everybody, that don't mean you be mean mugging motherfuckers, and that don't mean you be like looking away every time somebody looks at you. You just make friendly eye contact with everybody that you come across. Smile at people when they smile at you. That's how you get into a normal relationship. Like, I'm telling you, you see it all the time, all over the place. It's kids in these next generations, they don't know how to talk to each other because they're looking for love online, which online is just so fake. It's not real. It's not a real reality. Look at somebody's shit online. All you're gonna see is pictures of them having fun and winning. They ain't gonna take no pictures of when they're fucking sitting around bored, or when they're sitting around not having fun or arguing with somebody. But that's normal life. Normal life is all the shit that they don't show online. So So motherfuckers that are trying to find goddamn love online, stop it. It's not gonna happen. You can find sex online if that's all you want, but don't, seriously, never try to rush it. Never try, you know what I'm saying, to make somebody love you by telling them you love them so much, manipulating it. Matter of fact, you should, honestly, when you get into a good relationship, you should show your love way more than you say it. Because if all you got is every day you say I love you to this person, then the only time it's really gonna matter is the day that you don't say I love you. You know what I'm saying? If you're constantly showing love, then you don't have to say it as much. You do need to say it sometimes. And I even make it a point to say it to my kids, who are both boys. One of them all grown and big as me, and I still got to make sure that I remind these boys that I love them. You know what I'm saying? And that I care, and that they can talk to me and all that shit. Because it gets harder. It's so easy when they're little. But you got a big ass grown ass motherfucker. I mean, he ain't grown, but he my size now. It's hard, but it's real. But you don't need to say it every day. It's actually wrong if you're doing it wrong if you're saying it every day, in my opinion. If you're showing it every day, that's cool, as long as you're not making it a point to where it's a pain in the ass, like doing all this fancy. That shit runs out. God damn it. I think this thing just fucked off my shit. So, I don't know, it still records, so I'm gonna just keep going. Don't say I love you every day. Show it. If you're in a legitimate Trilla relationship, you don't have to say it every day. And like I said, the only time it's gonna matter is when you don't say it. So there's thin lines to walk, and there's ways to, maneuver and make yourself more available than others. But in reality, most relationships come from proximity. That's why long distance relationships are so hard. Because proximity matters, man. It's like all it takes is eye contact to start out a relationship with somebody. And when you start talking to somebody, that basically is the relationship beginning. All you need to make a good relationship is just to be honest. You make eye contact, you bring her over, y'all start talking or dancing or whatever the fuck, and you just not get deep into some shit when you first meet. I mean, if you got the skills to do it, then you can. But a lot of motherfuckers don't got the skills to be getting into these deep ass conversations with chicks, and then they end up stepping on their own dick, fucking it off. The best thing I've always found was you start talking to a chick and you basically let her talk about what she wants to talk about. It's like, I'm not saying manipulate it. I'm just saying make it so she's talking more than you. You constant with the eye contact. You paying attention, or at least pretending that you paying attention. And then you just keep the fucking honesty, man. I mean, different things are gonna happen throughout every relationship. And you do there is a thin line between too much honesty, you know what I'm saying, it's like you gotta just be real, basically. If you're not feeling something, then don't pretend it. If you don't feel the chick that you've been talking to for like 2 months, and y'all in a pretty decent relationship, but it's just not going nowhere to you, cut it out right now. Don't stretch it out to 2 years. You know, these are all the type of things that I guess I would have wanted my dad to tell me. My dad didn't have shit to say about any of this shit. Like, he wasn't trying to give me that talk. And in reality, I don't really want to give my kids the talk. I want to sit down and talk about fucking sex. But they do need to hear it from somebody else other than other kids their own age. And you know what? If they want to look at this shit, and I ain't got to give them the motherfucking talk, then I'm cool with that shit, because I don't think that talk is for me. I think there's so many different ways for the birds and the bees to happen that trying to get one universal talk about, oh, well, you line your penis up with the vagina and then you shove it in and out, and no, nobody wants to fucking hear that. I don't want to fucking hear that from nobody. Man, I damn sure ain't gonna say it to nobody, not even my kids. So but it needs to come from something other than porn. It needs to come from something other than some fucking, you know, grapevine shit that kids pass along back and forth to each other. You know? I don't know. Sex is majorly important. But, man, I lost my virginity when I was like 16. Like, right at the beginning of turning 16. And I didn't know what I was doing. And it was bad for everybody involved. Motherfucker, I had thought porno sex was real. So I'm trying to do porno sex as a virgin. That shit doesn't work. So it's important to know what you're doing and what you're getting yourself into and shit. But it's also like, you gotta kind of just figure it out on your own too. You can't have somebody sit down and tell you how to fucking stick your dick in somebody's pussy. That shit don't work. But I do believe if you can, because you're gonna figure out sex eventually anyway. Whether somebody fucking sits you down and tells you the birds and the bees, you're gonna figure that shit out, especially when you find the right chick. So I don't really think that part of it is very important, but I do think that at some point everybody wants to fall in love, and we need to understand you can love somebody with trust. You can love somebody because you respect them. You can love somebody because they're super loyal to you and you're loyal to them. You can love somebody because you have a lot of lust going. And you can love somebody because you have equal expectations. It's kind of something that's kind of similar to admiration and respect, but it is a little bit different, so I put it on. But it's just love. You're not in love unless you have all 5 of those things. If you have all 5 of those things, you're in love. And you're in that good love that's gonna last for a long fucking time if you both let it. You find trust, respect, loyalty, lust, and equal fucking expectations with somebody. I don't care if you're 13 years old. If you both feel that way and you both work on keeping it that way, it will last forever. That's just a fact. Now, people grow. People change. Part of my philosophy is that people change every 10 years. You become not only a completely new person mentally every 10 years, but physically, because they talk about how the skin cells fall off of you and you grow and your bones get bigger and all this shit. You physically are metamorphosizing all the time. It's just such a slow process that we don't realize it. You know, you metamorphosize from an infant to a toddler to a kid to a teenager to an adult to an middle-aged, then to an old person, and then old and decrepit, and then death. We're on a constant transition, and then death. We're on a constant transition. So if you have Trilla, TRLL, at 20, and you don't work on it at all, by the time you're 30, it's not going to be there because you're a complete different person. So you have to make sure that you're working it and massaging it. None of this shit is written in concrete. But if you can find somebody that you trust, that you respect, you like, see that motherfucker, you like, yeah, I love being around this motherfucker. This motherfucker is cool as shit. That's what respect is. Trust. That motherfucker say she gonna be somewhere. You say you're gonna be somewhere. You make sure that you're there. Loyalty. You pick her over your friends. And if your family don't like it, too fucking bad. That's loyalty. And lust. That chick you want to fuck. If you don't want to fuck, then hell no, do not get into a relationship with somebody you don't want to fuck. You got equal expectations? It's like butter. It's like butter on the biscuit. Equal expectations. We both want to have kids when we're 30. Till then, we want to have fun and, you know what I'm saying? And hopefully it works out like that. If it doesn't, we're still down for each other no matter what. Those are equal expectations. You cannot have unequal expectations where a chick wants to get married the second she turns 18 and have 5 kids by the time she's 22. And you like, I don't want to have kids maybe till I'm like 35. That will not work. One of you will have to severely compromise. Severe compromise doesn't work when a lot of relationships out there are very easy. You shouldn't need to compromise. You should be able to find somebody that you trust, respect, are loyal to, and have lust for. If you allow yourself. If you close yourself off and never make eye contact with nobody, and you're super shy and you know, keep your voice all low, the motherfuckers is gonna think you up to something. They gonna think you sneaky. Or they gonna think you shy, so it's gonna be a project to bring you out of your shell. Motherfuckers don't wanna deal with that. Just be real. If you got skills, brag about them skills. Not to the point where you're like a fucking douchebag. But if you got certain skills that motherfuckers might not have, let people know that shit. Without bragging. I think there's not only someone out there for all of us, there are millions of people out there for all of us. If we allow ourselves to be open, then it should be pretty easy. But if you're just constantly looking online for chicks to hook up with or for dudes to hook up with, and you're surprised that you can't find a motherfucking relationship that's worth the shit, maybe you need to switch it up. It's not about always looking for a relationship. It's always about putting yourself out there to where if you see somebody, smile at them. You know what I'm saying? Make eye contact with them. That's it. If they look at you like all mean or whatever, then fuck them. Let them be fucking mean and shitty to people. You, your job, if you want to find people to get along with, is accepting when you look at somebody and they look back at you and smile. You smile. You say, hey, how you doing? You say whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? Don't always wait for motherfuckers to come to you. And you fucking invest in actually looking when you fucking have TRLLE. You look for it. Shit, I trust this chick. Holy shit. I actually do respect this chick. I'd be friends with her even if we wasn't down in a relationship. I do pick this chick over my family. I don't give a fuck if they like it or not. That's loyalty. And I can't wait to get home to smash because I have true lust for this chick. You have to have that in the beginning. But I'm telling you, if you have all those things, you will find true love. Fuck Webster's. Fuck all that online bullshit. Don't listen to nobody except your own fucking instincts. And if you ain't trying to hear what I'm saying, don't listen to me. I could be full of shit. I'm not. I've been in a shit ton of relationships. That means I've been in a whole bunch of bad ones that didn't work out. So I know what works and what doesn't. Trust, respect, loyalty, lust, equal expectations. You are in love. It really is that simple. I wish everybody in the world love and happiness on Valentine's Day. I hope everybody finds something similar to what I'm saying. And if you find exactly what I'm saying, fucking lock onto that shit, man. Don't let it go. Explain to her that, hey, this shit is real. This is how real shit feels. Make sure motherfuckers understand. Trust, respect, loyalty, lust. You find that shit, keep it, massage it, work it out, recognize it's gonna change also every 10 years. But if you're massaging it and working it out, your relationship will work out and it will last. Y'all have kids and y'all have a good fucking time and everything will be great all the time and perfect. I'm just kidding. Nothing's perfect, but I'm telling you, this is something that I absolutely believe in. I'm not joking. I would not take this much time wasting motherfuckers' time. Trust is the most important and it can never be broken. The other ones will fluctuate. But you keep that fucking trust 100%. Trust, respect, loyalty, lust. If you have those things and equal expectations, your shit is good. Don't look any further. Stay with who you with and fucking nurture that shit. Have some goddamn kids. February 15th, 2021. Walking on the treadmill. Watching Wanted. This movie is cool as shit. You know, I've seen it so many times. Hey, it's President's Day, yo. Happy President's Day, everybody. Such an important holiday to acknowledge the greats, the forefathers. Can't forget about them. Need to be reminded of their greatness every year. Wasn't nothing on the news really, except for fucking CNN, man. Goddamn, you turn that shit on, and it's like every morning, it's breaking news. Get your shitting pants on. Fucking talk about 7 new fucking variants. I don't know why they do that, but so much of the news is just constantly about how bad everything is, how bad everything's going. It's almost like they want you to feel bad. Anyway, motherfucking President's Day. Should probably say something about the presidents that I know of, because there's a lot of them that I don't know about and don't give a shit about. Let's see, let's start with the last and the worst one that I've ever seen. Was only about his motherfucking, actually, Joe Biden. Joe Biden's an old dude, super old. I think he's the oldest starting president. The oldest age of a starting president is Joe Biden. He's old as shit. And he looks it. And he's like a little bit handsy. You know what I'm saying? He like running around rubbing chicks, fucking massaging them and shit without permission. He's like an old, awkward uncle. Fucking touches you too much and breathes all on you. Donald Trump was probably the worst, and this ain't me being a dick. This is just the fucking truth. Donald Trump was probably the worst president that I've ever seen in my lifetime. Like, when I'm adding them all up, Trump was the biggest piece of shit. From day one, all he did was try to fucking divide us among racial lines, among common sense lines, among political lines. It's like the dude comes in saying that Mexicans are fucking rapists and murderers. That's how he made his bones with these Republicans. Oh, and saying that Obama wasn't a legit president because he was born in Africa. But what? This dude was a total racist piece of shit. He started out like that, and all he did was foment further division. Like, that was his thing. His thing that he's gonna be known for is starting a fucking riot in the goddamn Capitol. You know what I'm saying? That dude sucked. And I don't think I'm going out on a limb saying that he was the worst president that I've ever seen. Then we got Obama, who by just sheer fucking the actuality of who he is bookended by is, to me, the best president that I've ever seen. Probably biased because he's black. The first black president. He was young for a president, that's for sure. And you see all these old motherfuckers that are coming after him and before him, really. Well, there wasn't too many. It's like they going super old after Obama. But he's young, not really cool, but not really. He was like, when you put up like a white nerd, you put up motherfuckers like Revenge of the Nerds type dudes. And you put up a black nerd, you put up motherfuckers like Urkel. You know, so nerds are nerds, but so Obama's like cooler version of Urkel to me. You know what I'm saying? He's a nerd, definitely. But he's cooler than Urkel. Obama also should be remembered for droning the shit out of motherfuckers. Because he brought them drones back in a major way. He ain't never met a fucking neighborhood he didn't mind droning. And when he would drone a motherfucker, the only people that were considered like bad kills were like women and little children. Like any dudes, even if they didn't have shit to do with nothing. If you happen to be in a neighborhood where they did a drone strike, didn't matter if you was fucking had anything to do with the dude that just happened to be in your neighborhood. If you were a male from like, I think it was 16 to 60 or something like that, you were considered a legit hit. So they got a lot of collateral damage that they ought to be ashamed about. But a lot of their supposed legit numbers was bogus. Obama did bring the economy back after Bush fucked it up majorly. So I would say the fact that he did not really try much with doing anything with race relations or anything, he tried to keep out of it. It's almost like because he was black, he had to make sure to be extra white throughout his presidency. So Obama was a disappointment. There's no doubt about it. Obama was a politician, but still, when you put him compared to all these other motherfuckers, I would put Obama at the top of the list by default of everybody else sucking so hard. George Bush is the next. George W. Bush. This fucking guy was the worst that I'd ever seen until goddamn dipshit. This fucking guy got us into a war. This total false pretenses. 9/11 happened under his watch. The 2 airplanes came in, crashing into the World Trade Center. It's fucking crazy. That's some of the craziest shit you will ever see on TV. Just imagine you wake up, my brother come in and woke me up. He was like, hey, turn on your TV. So I turned on the TV and shit. And I'm like, watching as the news is talking about the fucking World Trade Center getting hit by some plane. They didn't know what the fuck happened. They didn't know if it was terrorism. They didn't know if it was an accident. It was just being reported that a fucking plane hit this goddamn building. And it was stunning. There's a big hole in the fucking World Trade Center. And as I'm watching this, I say I've been awake for about 10, maybe 15 minutes. Second airplane comes. Phew! Right into motherfucking another building in the World Trade Center. And that's what we do. It was some real shit going on. It wasn't just an accident. It's like everybody in America, it dawned on us all at the same time that we was under attack. Some people reacted different. Some people panicked. Some people was like, that's the best they could do, motherfucker. And then she got oh yeah. So Bush was the fucking president when that shit happened. So the Bush, he's known for being like, and this ain't even me talking shit, because Trump was fucking retarded motherfucker. But Bush was definitely known for being stupid. Like, he would say stupid shit, and he would always have this stupid look on his face. That's definitely what I remember him most for. Just saying dumb shit all the time. Like, he said, you know, fool me once, shame on me. Or no, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That's the fucking, how the saying goes. But this motherfucker, he gets up in front of the cameras and he's like, fool me once, dude, you can't fool me. Oh, fool me twice. Dude, you just don't fool me again. It was like that type of shit. He's like, motherfucker, don't even try it if you don't know it. But he would do shit like that all the time. Mangling fucking just statements and just saying weird shit because he wasn't that smart. He's like a jock. If you put like a really big dumb jock, he wasn't that big, but you put a really dumb jock in charge of the nation, not necessarily a super bad guy, just dumb. And his vice president was like fucking Voldemort. Like, people think fucking the dipshit is evil, Trump. But man, Dick Cheney was definitely like, people had made memes. He's the emperor. He's the fucking he who shall not be named. Like, that dude was evil as shit, and he was the vice president. I really think that he talked Bush into starting that war in Iraq so he could push his company, Halliburton, which is a company that's known for going into war zones or places where wars had just gotten over and cleaning up and fixing up the place. And of course, they had a huge contract with cleaning up Iraq. So it was dirty as fuck. You know what I'm saying? I think he talked him into starting that war because he wanted to get money for his fucking Halliburton cleanup. And then Bush, for his own reasons, mainly because it's a nation of Muslims, and it was some Muslims that attacked us, even though it weren't from the nation that we attacked. They're from a completely different nation, and they were training in a completely different nation than they were even from. They didn't have shit to do with Iraq. Saddam Hussein had put a hit out and was talking shit about George Bush's daddy. So George Bush started that war with Iraq basically to get revenge on Saddam Hussein, who put a hit out on his dad. It was that fucking petty. Thousands of motherfuckers on our side dead, and hundreds of thousands of Iraqis dead for some petty ass fucking, you fucking with my daddy revenge. You fuck with my daddy? And they fucking hung this motherfucker on TV. Because that's fucking classy. That's George Bush. That's what he's known for. Oh yeah, and he crashed the fucking economy. Like I said, Obama brought it back. George Bush crashed the economy with that fucking war that he started. And he started another war because the Saudi Arabian Muslims that had attacked us had been training in Afghanistan. Osama bin Laden supposedly had a training camp in Afghanistan, so that's why we attacked Afghanistan. Another stupid ass fucking reason. Because all these dudes, almost all of them, came from Saudi Arabia, who's supposed to be our oil buddies or whatever. So we didn't fuck with Saudi Arabia because they got too much of that sweet, sweet oil. So we went and attacked poor ass fucking Afghanistan for some stupid ass reason. And it turned out Osama bin Laden wasn't even in Afghanistan. All the shit we was doing, he was hanging out in Pakistan, chilling, Government knew about it. That shit gets way deeper. I'm not finna go into that. But suffice to say, George Bush was dumb. And he was led into some dumb shit that fucking almost crashed our economy. And Obama fixed it. Before GW was Clinton. Bill Clinton is a smarmy liberal Democrat who pretended to be down with black people to get their vote. This motherfucker go on Arsenio Hall and blow a goddamn saxophone with some goddamn sunglasses on, and black people lost their shit. So that's Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was known for doing the crime bill where he was all about prisons, making more prisons, privatizing prisons, and getting as many of these young black savages off the street as fast as you motherfuckers can. That fucking piece of shit was talking about me. His wife, Hillary Clinton. Got the nerve to call me a fucking super predator. Like all these white kids that are getting in trouble, oh, they're just bad kids. But those black kids, man, those kids are like super predators. We gotta lock those fuckers up. She made that case for a bitch ass husband. So, while she apologized and grew out of that shit, no motherfuckers ain't never gonna forget that bitch called us super predators. And Biden had some fucking bullshit like that to say too. The motherfuckers tend to forget. Because it's weird. It's like these fuck ass motherfuckers like Clinton. It's like they turned the black church against black kids back in the 90s. It's like, oh, these kids are listening to all this rap music and all this bad stuff, and they just possessed by the devil. And the only way to cleanse it is to lock them all up, because these kids is just bad. They worse than everybody else. That's these fucking assholes were saying about me. That's what these liberal Democrats were saying about me. I was a bad kid, but I knew plenty of fucking white boys that was worse than me. Way worse. These fucking assholes got a lot of fucking nerve. That's all I'm saying. Fucking liberal Democrats. Bill Clinton legacy is he's a fucking pervert who used to fuck with all his goddamn interns. And famously, one of them was Monica Lewinsky. She gave him a blowjob. He busted a nut on her motherfucking dress, and the crazy bitch kept the motherfucking dress. I don't know if she wake up in the morning and snip the cum spot. I don't know what that bitch kept that fucking dress for. Or if she was just planning on blackmailing him at some point and she had his DNA. Whatever the fuck reason, Monica Lewinsky ain't a hero. And Bill Clinton ain't no victim. Now, he shouldn't have been impeached for getting a fucking blowjob. If anything, he could have been impeached for fucking with his goddamn interns. But even that shit wasn't that big a deal back in the day. Way before Me Too. Motherfuckers was just like, shit, if she cool with it, then it's all good. But I think now, it don't matter how cool she is with it. If you fucking with a subordinate, you fucking up. So that's Bill Clinton. Motherfucker couldn't keep his dick in his pants. Before Bill Clinton was George Bush be older. They got a fucking legacy going. They got a fucking legacy going. So it's George H. Bush, GH. He was in one term, just like Donald Trump, punk ass. Everybody else was 2 terms, but George H. Bush and Donald Trump are the only 1-term motherfuckers that I can remember. And yeah, I don't really remember much about him except he uses racist ass like ad against Michael Dukakis in their race. And I always thought he was a piece of shit, because even as a little kid I understood that shit was foul. It was about some motherfucker named Willie Horton had got released from prison early, because they release people from prison early all the time. If you be good, they let you out early. And then they try to make it like it was some fucking thing that Michael Dukakis, he was the governor when Willie Horton had got let out of jail early for good behavior, and then this fucking dude goes out and kills somebody. So they blame it on fucking on Dukakis because he was the governor at the time. And motherfuckers eat that dumb shit up even back then, because motherfuckers was letting out all kinds of goddamn prisoners. Not just Dukakis, everybody was. Everybody lets out prisoners when they fucking good. And most of them ain't never fucking committed another crime in their life. But Willie Horton went out and killed somebody, and they just fucking played that shit over and over. And that's how he won. Racism. Fucking. So George Bush the first didn't start any wars. He really ain't known for shit other than that ad that he ran against fucking Dukakis. And he lost to an unknown redneck governor the next time around from Arkansas, Bill Clinton. Before George H., there was Ronald Reagan. This motherfucker was a racist piece of work. He's another one of them motherfuckers that was old as shit. When he went into his second term, I think he is like a little bit younger than Biden is. Or no, he's a little bit older than Biden is. So he was old as fuck. And senile, they say that like most of his second half of his term, his second 4 years, that his wife Nancy Reagan was running that shit because he was just old and senile and didn't know what the fuck was going on. That guy was a racist fucking asshole that did a whole bunch of race baiting. Oh yeah, George Bush put Clarence Thomas on the fucking Supreme Court. That's what he's known for. He found the whitest black motherfucker to represent black people on the Supreme Court. There has never been anybody on the Supreme Court. Well, no, there's some slaveholders, I gotta imagine, back in the day. But Clarence Thomas, to be the replacement for Thurgood Marshall, was such a slap in the face to black people. Because just because Clarence Thomas is black doesn't mean he don't hate black people. That dude voted against racial issues that would help out minorities as much as he possibly could. Every fucking single time something came up. This is a black dude that just fucking hates black people so much that it just can't be fucking forgotten how foul George Bush the first is for putting that motherfucker into the fucking Supreme Court as a representation for black people after Thurgood Marshall. It's like, seriously. George Bush is a piece of shit, and Clarence Thomas, I hope he fucking rots in hell. Like, seriously, fuck that dude. So yeah, Reagan was he's known for talking shit with the Russians. It was the end of the fucking Cold War. Kind of ended with Reagan. He had Gorbachev take that wall down. So even though he's a racist piece of shit, he was like the Republicans back when they had strength and were, I guess, feared and admired around the world instead of just mocked for stupidity like they are now. Ronald Reagan was an old fucking racist asshole. There's plenty of goddamn tape of that dude being fucking racist piece of shit. He started the war on drugs, which his fucking stupid ass wife coined the phrase "just say no," and that ignorant ass fucking policy is what led to my first run-in with the fucking pig. Because that "just say no" campaign was like a green light for stop and frisk. Oh, you wanted to stop and frisk these people this whole time in your career, but the Constitution was stopping you? Ronald Reagan came and just knocked that shit right out. You go fucking stop and frisk anybody you want to. And that shit happened to me when I was a little kid. Before I was into any kind of gang banging, before I was getting in any kind of trouble, the fucking pig stopped me and fucking frisked my ass. Basically, I'm walking down the fucking street to go get some lunch. My aunt sent me to grab some fucking lunch meat for the kids. Gives me $10 and sends me up to the street to fuck a couple blocks to the store. I get half block away from my crib, and this fucking pig, I'm about to walk past through this four-way, waiting for this fucking pig to go past so I can fuck across the street. This asshole stops his fucking car, jumps out, talking about what you up to. I'm probably like 12, 13 years old at this point. Fucking walking down the street to go get some motherfucking lunch meat. Fuck throws me up against the car, searching all over my motherfucking body, grabbing all over my balls and my ass and my dick. Basically getting molested in the fucking street by this fucking white piece of shit. And the fucking asshole, after he does it, and by the way, you know what I think about this shit right here? It ain't got shit to do with President's Day, but every time I ever seen fucking pigs, the one asshole that's aggressive gets out and does his aggressive shit. The one asshole covers him. He doesn't just sit in his car. But this fucking pig, when this dickhead got out and was felching all up over my fucking balls and shit, was sitting right in his fucking car. Didn't get out to provide assistance. Sitting there fucking reading the goddamn newspaper or some shit. Barely paying attention to anything in the world. Because you know why? He didn't give a fuck. He didn't have to fucking provide goddamn backup or assistance. Because he knew there was nothing going on. He knew his fucking punk ass partner saw some young black kid that he wanted to fucking felch on. Fucking pigs. They're not just racist assholes always looking to beat and fucking murder people. Sometimes they're fucking molesters that get off on going and felching on fucking boys. And that stop and frisk and that just say no bullshit just gave those fucking assholes just free reign to go felch on whoever the fuck they wanted. So fuck Reagan the most. Fucking piece of shit. Chicken or the egg? Was I a motherfucking gangbanger? Was I a motherfucking criminal-minded motherfucker? before or after I got fucked with by the pig. The way I see it, I was one of these stupid ass good kids walking around with my Dare fucking shirts on, my Just Say No shirts. Stupid. You know, that fucking molestering fucking Chester piece of shit opened my eyes real quick to who the real fucking bad guys are. Who the real fucking bad guys in this situation is. So when I look back, I do think that was the beginning of my fucking criminal life. When that fucking dirty pig fucked with me for nothing. And I realized if that's the fucking good guys, fuck them. So that's fucking Reagan and his punk ass bitch, Nance. As far as Jimmy Carter,
My father was wrong about one thing.
Jimmy Carter, I don't really know shit about him because I was too fucking young.
I feel no pain.
I was fucking 4 years old in
Every job.
1980. So I don't know shit about Jimmy Carter except he was like super Christian, and he's a one-term motherfucker. Liberal Democrat, super Christian. And I guess that shit didn't work. And I don't know shit about Nixon except he was racist because he got caught on motherfucking tape saying a bunch of racist shit, and he did a bunch of racist shit, and he was fucking anti-Semitic, and he hated Muslims. That's what I know about him. But he did some surprisingly liberal shit too, like he started the EPA, I think. Let's see, JFK. I didn't really know shit about Ford. I know they used to make fun of him for being clumsy, but the motherfucker was also a professional athlete, so he's probably more of a dumb jock. But I don't know. And JFK, he had his brother for Attorney General, so he is the fucking like catalyst for all the nepotism that we see with Trump and having all his kids up in office or in his administration. It's like Democrats couldn't really say shit because JFK had his fucking brother as the goddamn Attorney General. JFK got smoked. I think he's the first one that got killed on TV. Ronald Reagan got shot, but he didn't die. JFK got shot in the head, and somebody was taking video of it. So his death shocked the nation because everybody saw it on TV. And then, I don't know, there's more presidents, and I could go through all of them, but President's Day is about Lincoln and George Washington. So, let me tell you, when I think about George Washington, when I was a kid, I'll tell you like this. In third grade, I'm pretty sure it was third grade, they had us do, they wanted us to build an effigy of our favorite historical figure in third grade. So the effigy was like, you take a paper bag, you fill it with cotton, and then you dress the bag up as your favorite historical thing. So a lot of people picked a lot of different shit. I picked George Washington, and I dressed him up as Super George. So it's the stupid wig that he wore It was very obviously George Washington from the wig. Then I threw a Superman cape on him, and I put a big G in the middle, like Superman got the S. I put a G in the middle of it for George, and it was Super George Washington. That, and I got an A, probably an A+ on that motherfucker. But that was my favorite historical figure that I picked in 3rd grade. George Washington. Man, I thought George Washington was the shit. I remember in 1st probably grade, they was talking about how this motherfucker could just never tell a lie. He was like that good. And that shit struck a chord with me. He's the first president, he's a general, and the motherfucker was just way more honest than I could ever be. Even as a kid, I've told lies, so he's better than me. George Washington was great. He's my fucking hero. And then just imagine a couple years later, at some point during some class in history, these motherfuckers slipped in the fact that George Washington had slaves. I'm like, what? Nah, this bitch lying to me, because ain't no fucking way. I've been looking up to this dude for my whole fucking life. And all you people been telling me that I should look up to him. And that motherfucker had slaves? That means he would have had me for a fucking slave? That means he would have wanted to fucking... He'd have looked at me like I was a piece of shit. Like I knew this as a kid right away. Man, that shit fucking devastated me. And I got a feeling that shit was on purpose. They fool us when we're little kids into fucking thinking this dude is great. White and black. We're all told the same thing. This dude is the shit. He ain't never lied. Greatest motherfucker ever. And then about 5th to 6th grade, they tell you, oh, by the way, he had slaves. The greatest guy that's ever been known in the country had slaves. That is confusing to everybody. It's confusing to white kids. It's confusing to black kids. White kids, that's the very beginning of fucking white supremacy ideology. Because you're being taught that this dude that is the greatest American ever, the greatest motherfucker that you would ever fucking know that is a real person, for sure, had slaves. So having slaves, it must be a fucking not that big a deal. If the greatest of us had slaves, there must have been a good reason for it. And shit, we're the greatest country ever, so it's clearly, while it might have sucked for them, it was a means to an end. And the greatest of us were doing it. So fuck all those whiny ass motherfuckers. Racism is great. We are the supreme. Racism is great. We are the supreme. It teaches these kids all that shit in one quick motion. And it teaches black kids to be like, what the fuck? You can't trust history. You can't trust nothing that these motherfuckers is saying. Because they're gonna geek you up into believing some bullshit, and then they're gonna come and kick you in the fucking balls. Because that's what it was. They fooled me into fucking looking up to this racist fucking piece of shit. And then got the nerve to be like, oh, you just don't get education. You don't get it. I get it all too well. I lost all respect for all motherfucking education at that point, subconsciously. I knew these motherfuckers was not only lying, but manipulating kids like me. And white kids get fooled into this fucking bullshit supremacy. Black kids get fooled into this hatred of, it's a mix up, because you mix up education with knowledge. So you become disdainful of history. History is knowledge, history is power, but they're teaching you this bullshit version of it, and you become disdainful of it, and that starts to tentacle out towards other parts of your education, and then pretty soon you're like, fuck these motherfuckers, man, you can't trust them. So what's the sense in listening to them? You know how all that shit could have been avoided if my dad, from the fucking beginning, when I come home talking about George Washington ain't never told a lie, if he'd have looked at me in my eye and said, boy, don't you ever say nothing that stupid. Don't you ever think nothing that stupid. And by the way, the first president who's supposed to be so great had your ass and your ancestors as slaves. So don't be walking around talking about how great this fucking slave owner was. He could have cut all that bullshit out, but he didn't. He sat there watching me fucking walking around in admiration of this motherfucker who would have had me in chains. And he didn't say shit. Nobody did. Fucking military motherfuckers. So yeah, that's what fucking finding out about George Washington did to me as a little kid. It fucked me up so nicely that it had to be on purpose. There's no way that fucking grown-ups making books filled up with lies like that don't know what those lies are doing to kids. That shit fucked me up. Let me tell you something. George Bush ain't the only one. Or I mean, not George Bush, George Washington. Because Abraham Lincoln is lionized by black people because of the Emancipation Proclamation. But black people, while you running around there talking about how great this motherfucker is, how he's the only great president and all that shit, and how Republicans, we might should give them a chance because fucking Lincoln was a Republican. Lincoln might have done the right thing, but he did it for the wrong reasons. This asshole blamed slaves, black motherfuckers that got kidnapped, for taking away these American white males' jobs. See, slaves and recently released slaves, we were the Mexicans before they started shitting on Mexicans about fucking crashing their borders and taking their jobs. It was the slaves that were taking away jobs. So a lot of these abolitionists, they weren't against slavery because it was morally wrong. They were against slavery because they didn't want any black people around, and they flipped in their minds that we were somehow taking their jobs. Us, the motherfuckers got kidnapped. That's why you can't just be like, oh, abolitionists. These guys were all great. No, they weren't. And if you would look, black people, at some of the motherfucking speeches Lincoln gave, I'm not talking about the Emancipation Proclamation. I'm talking about the speeches where he's in front of a white crowd skitting and bopping and fucking talking all kinds of shit about black motherfuckers. How we're stupid, how we ain't got no talents, how there's very obvious a difference in where there could never be equality because we're a bunch of savage animals and white people are the greatest thing since fucking bread. Lincoln got up there talking that shit all the time.
Just another tool.
Lincoln supposedly great friends with Frederick Douglass. But Frederick Douglass spent most of his time when he finally got out of fucking being a slave shitting on Lincoln because Lincoln was shitting on black people. Lincoln was not a good abolitionist. John Brown was a good abolitionist. He was doing it for moral reasons. Lincoln was a fucking piece of shit that couldn't wait to fucking send all black people the fuck away from fucking America because we were stealing all these fucking white jobs. That's Lincoln.
This is not me fulfilling my destiny.
Fuck Lincoln. Fuck George Washington. Like, fuck President's Day so hard. Any of my kids in the fucking next generation watch this shit, you make sure goddamn well that you fucking tell your kids as soon as they come home talking that bullshit about motherfucking George Washington could never tell a lie. You set that shit straight and you set it straight immediately. Don't let that shit happen to your kid what happened to me. Anyway, that's President's Day. February 16, 2021. Walking on a treadmill. Watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I used to love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles when I was a kid. Now, these movies are ass. No doubt about it. As far as the news, ain't much going on. They doing a lot of these studies about how kids are having a hard time doing homeschooling and shit. And they're like, how come these kids are having such a hard time? It's like, number one, they don't give these kids no books. 0 books. Math, social studies, science. No books. Everything's online. So as a parent, when you want to help, it would help if instead of when they get fucking homework, it says do lesson 6.3 in the fucking math. These kids, they need somebody to explain them about fucking lesson 6.3. And the lessons don't come with like a fucking video from the teacher. A quick 15, 10, 5-minute video explaining what they're about to do. None of that. All it comes with is lesson 6.3 for Wednesday. Get it done. 0 help. So when they ask us, parents, what the fuck are we supposed to do? It's been fucking 30 years since I did fucking algebra. How the fuck am I supposed to know any of that shit? So all I can do is be like, hey, Google it. Look it up on the fucking internet so you can, you're basically getting information that you would get from your teacher off of fucking Google. And you know why? Because when you have a question for your teacher in long distance learning and you fucking email her, she doesn't fucking hit you back. Numerous times my kid had some fucking question for his teacher. And they would fucking email him. And they would not hear back for days, if they ever heard back at all. And then when you hear back, you're fucking already done with that goddamn shit. So you fucking... Look, I get it. Teachers having to work in person and fucking long distance is hard on them. But the whole fucking organizational part of this shit was trash. All they did is give these kids a fucking laptop, and said, go. No explanations on any of the fucking, like, assignments. They're like, maybe there's some explanations online when you go to the assignment, but once again, they don't have the teacher to bounce fucking questions off of. And the teachers never left them explanations, like little video explanations about what their 6.3 was about and how to do it, like they would if they were in class. It's like they couldn't even be bothered to fucking record the shit that they were saying to the kids in class and then send that shit to the kids that were online. They couldn't be bothered. So everybody's talking about, oh, these kids are having so much trouble. They're just insane how hard it is for these kids to distance learn. No, it's hard for fucking teachers to distance teach. They did a shit job. As a parent, you feel fucking bad. And it's not just the teachers, it's the administrations. Why the fuck these kids don't have books? One fucking book. My younger one, 6th grade, has a math book. That's it. It's like you wonder why these kids fell off so hard when they did distance learning. That's the reason. The fucking teachers did a horrible job with fucking distance learning. And it's probably the administration that put them in that position. But don't tell me these kids just had such a hard time because they couldn't learn or they couldn't pay attention. Bullshit. I call major bullshit. I had a fucking 6-hour schedule set up where they were able to fucking eat lunch in the middle, take breaks every fucking hour or so. All that shit was set up. Had PE, everything. The only problems they had, the only thing in that shit that lacked discipline was the fact when they would get their assignments, they didn't have a book. So I could not look into a book, go over their lesson with them, and fucking explain anything because it was all online. So I don't know whatever fucking cheap ass reason these fucking assholes don't be giving these kids books anymore. Then that shit's all online. But it's fucking hard to help your kids when the teacher gives no explanation about what you're supposed to be doing. They just give you a number of an assignment that you're supposed to look up and teach yourself as a kid. So of course the kids would have a hard time with it. They weren't able to raise their hand and say, hey, teach, I don't understand this and that. And when they did say, hey, teach, I don't understand this and that, they'd have to send it in an email and they wouldn't get a fucking answer for days. This is not a surprise. And fucking distance learning could have been done way better. I mean, God forbid you give these kids books. So when motherfucker says do 6.3, do assignment 6.3, as a parent who hasn't even fucking done no fucking math in 30 years, other than the obvious shit that we do every day, I could look into the book and say, okay, this is what they want you to do. You can't do that shit online. Here, get out of the way. Let me go look through this fucking system that I have no idea how to fucking control. Only the kid knows how to do that shit. So you have to go on kids' knowledge of how to fucking get to the information in the first place. The kids don't know shit about fucking finding the answers except for the teacher. And when the teacher don't answer, and when the teacher can't even be bothered to record the fucking answer she gives to the kids in class, man, shut the fuck up about how hard it is. All the fucking teachers have to do with the fucking distance learners, distance learners. Record what you're doing in class and fucking send it to them. You're talking to the kids about goddamn social studies. You're talking to the kids in class about social studies. You're explaining the fucking shit, the assignment, and what they need to do and where they need to look up the information. Record that shit and fucking send it to the goddamn kids that are distance learning. You send that 5-minute or whatever the fuck recorded message of what you just said to your in-class students. You send that out to all the fucking long distance kids. Duh! For fuck's sake. You send that shit out to the fucking long distance kids. Now they get to look at the same shit that the kids in class get to look at. And they at least have a fucking chance. You're telling them where to look up shit so that it's fucking easier for them. And God forbid a kid long distance learning has to fucking ask a question. God forbid a fucking teacher gets back at him before a fucking day goes by. The reality is they should have had somebody, I don't give a fuck if it's a teacher's assistant, somebody sitting there answering questions that the kids would inevitably every day send in. And those teachers would have to ignore because their in-person teaching clearly fucking was more important than their long distance teaching. Because that's how it worked out. They didn't have time to send any fucking video definitions of what they wanted the kids to fucking be doing. They didn't have time to answer any fucking emails from the kids that had fucking questions about what they were supposed to be doing. They didn't send any books so the parents could actually fucking help. I had a book for every fucking subject when I was a kid. But these kids get no books. Because these fuckers are cheap. I made a point to make sure these kids got up at the same time every day. They had 5 different breaks to split up their fucking hours, basically. They had a lunch and they had PE every day. The shit that was lacking was obviously not being around other kids. But that's because, like I explained before, these kids don't like to go outside. They like to be online all day long. And they would be if I didn't make them go outside. That shit's insane to me because my parents used to have to make us come in because we were out all day. And this ain't no, back in the day we used to have to walk uphill both ways to school. No. But this is a fact. Me and my friends and my cousins would be out playing all day long. And motherfuckers would have to call us in for lunch. Motherfuckers would have to call us in for dinner. Call us in to do our homework and shit. These kids refuse to go outside unless you make them. So now, they're not seeing any other kids. They're not getting any answers from their fucking teachers when they need an answer. They're not getting any instruction from their teacher when they need instruction. They're not getting nothing. That's why they fucking failed. That's why they were having such a hard time. It didn't have shit to do with, long distance learning is just so terrible. No, this generation needs to take their ass outside and have fun like normal fucking kids. But all this fucking tech and online bullshit just keeps them glued to that shit. And then you give them these super hard assignments with zero explanation as to how to fucking do it and where to find the information that'll help. And y'all motherfuckers got some fucking nerve with that shit is all I'm saying. I saw it up close and personal. did everything he could for these kids. It was the teachers that failed them. It was the administration that failed them. I can't even fucking count how many times I didn't know the answer to something, so I had to tell them to fucking go to Google because their teacher never sent them any information and they would not answer any fucking emails. Is that the teacher's fault completely? I don't know. Maybe they should have hired some teacher's assistants to help with the long distance. Whatever it is, the reasoning behind it doesn't really matter. The reality behind it says these fuckers tried a lot harder with the kids that were in person and kind of fucked off the kids that were long distance. That's the reason. Motherfuckers.